What will Brother Day do next? What's Hari's next move? This episode marks the beginning of the middle game in Hari Seldon's chess match against Empire. What is Queen Sereth's hiding? We will uncover this and much more. Welcome back, TV junkies. If you love talking about the best TV shows and movies, and you know who the smoking man was, and you know why TK421 was not at his post, you're probably in the right channel, and I appreciate you being here. My name is Sean Redmond, this is Sean's Take, and today my take is on Foundation Season 2, Episode 4. Foundation is an Apple TV Plus show that airs every Friday on the Apple TV Plus streaming service. This is your spoiler warning. I will also be using some scenes from the show to illustrate some of the points, and that's all covered under the fair use policy. Let's dig in. Now this show, this episode, we don't get to see the newly rehumanized Hari Seldon. At the end of the last episode, Hari was made corporeal again. He had a real body with a heartbeat. But we don't get to explore that yet. In this episode, we are elsewhere in the Empire. This episode switches its attentions to other characters that are significant to the story. We're going to explore the significance of those characters this episode and some of the storylines. We pick up on Trantor, where Queen Sereth is on a mission to find out what happened to her family. As expected, her motivations for coming to Trantor aren't just to be wooed by Brother Day. She wants to find out if Brother Day had anything to do with the assassination of her entire family. So Queen Sereth is not stupid, and she has spotted that Brother Dawn has developed a soft spot for her, and so she starts to work on him. We find out that Rue, the Queen's lady, once had an affair with Brother Day, Cleon the 16th. Cleon the 16th is now Brother Dusk. And she, of course, had her memory wiped, so she doesn't remember anything of their tryst. But he remembers her, and he seems to be a little smitten. And he says that he has video records that she could watch with him. And she asks if those memories would be allowed to keep, or would they be wiped too? And he said that she would be allowed to keep them this time. So that's interesting. And I do want to pause right here and talk about Terrance Mann. Terrance Mann plays Brother Dusk. I had the opportunity to work with Terrance Mann a very, very long time ago. Some of you may not know, Terrance Mann originated the role of Rum Tum Tugger in the musical Cats on Broadway. I didn't work with him there. I worked with him in 1991 on a movie called The $10 Million Getaway. I was just an extra. He was one of the stars. But he left an impression because we had a particularly difficult day of shooting in a bar scene. And Terrance's character was seated at a table where they were planning the heist in the movie. And lots of things were delaying the day. And you could see the tension rising and the tension building. And you knew something was going to happen. And finally, Terrance had had enough. And he didn't slam his book. He didn't yell. He didn't even stand up. He simply started talking. And it grabbed everyone's attention. And he explained what being a professional was. It wasn't a long speech. And when he was done explaining to an entire movie crew what being a professional really was, he went back to his beginning spot and waited. The director called back to one, and we began shooting, and from that moment on, we were on time, smoothly running. And I've never forgotten that, and I think about it often, that Terrance Mann could have had a Hollywood temper tantrum. He could have done a lot of different things. And what he did do worked really well. I've mentioned that story to other people that were there that day, and they don't remember it. So I'm glad I do, and I'm glad to have worked with him, and I'm glad that he's on this show, because I like watching him work. So anyway, let's get back to our story. So Bel Rios, General Rios, has taken command of his fleet again and jumped. He gave the order to jump to the outer reach. Turns out, when he says that, what he means is Swina. I think I'm pronouncing that. I'm going to pronounce it Swina until somebody corrects me. Feel free to correct me in the comments, because I don't know. I'm not sure. So we'll just call it Swina. It feels like I'm missing a syllable. But Swina. But the Empire had pulled up stakes over 100 years ago and left Swina. And they're not registering any technological activity. So he doesn't want to suddenly stir the pot by having Empire show up in force again. So rather than sending down a shuttle or anything, he jumps out of the spaceship in a winged flying squirrel suit. I'm not making this up. And just sort of flies down to the surface. Because, why not? And then they have a box with them for extraction. We'll see what that is in a couple of minutes. So they immediately see that their extraction unit is 1 kilometer away, but it's moving. And it turns out some locals have already found it. They catch up to the locals. Locals don't want to give up their found prize. The fight starts. Bel Rios has a lot of pent-up anger and issues. And he probably could have negotiated his way out, but he decided to fight his way out instead. So now they have a limited amount of time. Back on Terminus, Hober Mallow arrives at the vault. And it's only after arriving at the vault with Polly and Brother Constant that he finds out that the last person who tried to go into the vault was basically cremated by the vault, which makes him not want to go. Brother Constant begins to reassure him, but the vault, of course, reaches out, levitates him, and drags him in against his will. So he's now in the vault. Polly and Brother Constant immediately begin to follow. Constant's father, whose name escapes me at the moment, is hesitant to go. So Constant and Polly go in. Oh, and there is a running joke that Brother Constant won't tell Hober her name. And he keeps trying to guess. Like he's guessing every female name in the universe. And she keeps saying, nope, 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 nope. It's almost like the scene in Ted when he's trying to guess the name.
Misty, Jenny, Krista, Mindy, Noelle, Shelby, Trina, Reba, Cassandra, Nikki, Kelsey, Shauna, Jolene, Earlene, Claudine, Savannah, Casey, Dalton.
So I don't know. And again, I'll try and mention this in each video. I have not read the books. I'm not going to read the books until the show is off the air. I tried to read the books once upon a time. I didn't get very far, and it was a long time ago. And I don't even know if these characters are in the books, the Brother Constant. But it occurs to me that Brother is the title of all of the monks that are part of Hari Seldon's church. But that Constant's probably her name. What do you think? You think if you're only watching the show, you haven't read the books, and you don't know for sure, what do you think her name's going to be? Do you think it's going to be Constant, or do you think it's going to be something else? You don't have to guess what it's going to be. Just is it Constant or something else? So Hober is taken in. Polly and Constant decide to follow. And they go in, and they have a hard time finding him at first. And when they do, he says, "What took you so long?" And Polly says, "It's only been 2 minutes." And Hober says, "It has been 2 days." So this is another one of those things where Foundation by Isaac Asimov is credited with creating most of the science fiction that we are familiar with. And this is another example. Those of us that grew up watching Doctor Who know that the TARDIS is bigger on the inside. Turns out, in Foundation, the vault is bigger on the inside, and it was first. It's another thing that Isaac Asimov created, like the planet Trantor is one city over the entire planet. Well, that becomes Coruscant in Star Wars. The capital is one city over the entire planet. And there's many, many, many other things that were here in Foundation first. It's literally the foundation of all science fiction, and it happens to be called Foundation. And it's about a foundation. How many more times can I say Foundation in this video about Foundation? Back to the thing. Where were we? Oh, so Hari Seldon appears. Constance's father does come in, and he wasn't far behind, because, so as Hober said, it had been 2 days when it had been 2 minutes. Constant and Polly come in, and as they find Hober, the father comes in. So he really only hesitated another second or two before coming in. So Hari Seldon appears before the four of them, and greets the magistrate, I forget what his title is, Constance's father, and compliments his suit. He makes a point. He looks at Constance and Polly and says, "Oh, I see, we've entered the religious stage of the Foundation." And Polly introduces himself, and Hari recognizes that that's Polly, that he's the boy from the first crisis, which is nice that they did have him acknowledge that that's the same character. So then he says, "You must be Hober Mallow," and Hober doesn't know why he's there. Hari doesn't know why he's there. A passing ghost whispered Hober's name to Hari, and so Hari asked for him. So let's unpack that just for a moment. We find out in this scene that the prime radiant that Hari has on Terminus and the prime radiant that Gale has with Salvor and that Hari is the same prime radiant. It exists in a super state in 2 different places at once. So when Gale had her vision and spoke of the mule, saying that Hober Mallow pierced the hide of Empire, that prime radiant and this prime radiant both heard it at the same time, and this prime radiant told Hari. Hari asked for Hober Mallow. Right? So all of these things is sort of how communication is happening. If you wonder how, that's it. Really kind of clever. So Hari, just to touch on it again, Hari's math and the prime radiant don't take into consideration individuals and their significance and contributions. It tracks great swaths of people and the herd-like changes that society is going to go through, not individuals. So singling out an individual is a deviation for Hari, but don't forget we're trying to put the timeline back on path and stop the inevitable war. And that they didn't make a good enough point of this, but maybe that's by intention. Harry's trying to prevent the war now. He knows the war can't be prevented. He's preventing it from starting now. And he is smart enough to know that while he's trying to prevent the war, it could start anyway. He could fail. So he sends Brother Constant and Polly to Trantor to spread the word with Brother Day. And if that doesn't work, he sends Hober Mallow somewhere else to be the backup plan if the war starts. Basically, go find the army of clone troopers for the Republic, as another example. But no, we don't know where Hober's going, but at a guess, given the information that we have, he's either going somewhere new or somewhere we know. If he's going somewhere we know, he could be going to the Dominion. The Dominion is Queen Sereth's queendom. Right? So she has an issue possibly with Brother Day that he killed her family. And so Hober may be going to make them the knife that Hari Seldon wants to have hidden in case he needs it. Now we do find out in one of the later conversations in this episode that it in fact was Queen Sereth that attempted to have Brother Day killed. So a few people now know that secret, which is the secret I referenced at the beginning of the show. So she doesn't trust Day, nor should she. So we have that going. We have Rue and Brother Dusk maybe rekindling their tryst. We have Brother Dawn wondering why he doesn't get to marry Queen Sereth. We have Hober Mallow on his way to somewhere. We have Polly and his candy and alcohol headed towards Trantor. So the season's really starting to heat up. Not sure where we're going next. What do you think? Do you think Hober Mallow's going to the Dominion? Do you think... So Queen Sereth actually asked for the video surveillance to find out how Brother Day survived. If she gets to see that, she'll see that, one, he's having an affair with Demerzel. Two, that Demerzel is a robot. So can't wait till next Friday to see the next installment, the next episode of this. And based on what I said, I do hope that Brother Dusk has some good scenes in that episode. But I do think, Terrance Mann as Brother Dusk, Lee Pace as Brother Day, they're doing great jobs. I think everybody in this show was well cast. I think the writers are doing a much better job in Season 2 than they did in Season 1. Season 1 was a little hard to watch. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen next? Let's get it going in the comments, ahead of next week's and see how many of us are right and how many of us are wrong. All right, I'm Sean. This is Sean's Take. See you next week. Bye now.